Hi there, this is Vernell, Millionaire Smith. I'm back again. Reaping is reserved for the planter. What did you plant today? What did you plant yesterday? Have you planted anything at all? But you think something is reserved for you? What have you planted? Or what are your expectations of reaping? Reaping is reserved for the planter. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification button. Share this message. Leave a comment below. I will respond. Let's interact. But yes, just in case you did not know or you did not remember, I came to remind you that reaping is reserved for the planter. There is an old adage that says, whatsoever you sow is exactly what you're going to reap. And so if you planted nothing, how do you expect to reap something? You cannot reap what you didn't plant. You can only reap what you plant. And that is whether it is good or bad. Whether it is something or nothing. But don't expect to reap if you didn't plant anything. How is that supposed to work? How? You must plant. The farmer doesn't run away from planting because he intends to reap something. Neither should you. You set your plans, you set your goals. I trust that you have a time frame on them. Because if you say you have a goal, but you don't have a time frame set on its accomplishment, it's a wish. You're wishing your way through life. Every goal ought to have a time frame for its completion. And I say that because if you don't set a time for the completion of your goal, then you flip-flop all the way through, accomplishing nothing. And so if you want to call your wish a goal, set a time frame for the completion. Then you can call it a goal. Further, you must plant on a daily basis if you plan to reap something. The farmer is not focused on the reaping. His focus is the planting. And so you ought to adapt the attitude of the farmer. There is winter, and right after winter, there's spring, and after spring, there's summer, which is followed by autumn. And that has been going on for the past 6,000 years. It has not changed. And so we know that it's not going to change anytime soon. And so for that matter, because you know that is the process of the seasons, you know how you should be planting. Because we know that once you plant, at some point in time, there shall and there's got to be a harvest. But the harvest is reserved for the planter. What did you plant today? Did you plant your topics for your book? Did you seek out the characters that you need for the role they're going to play in this book? If you were supposed to do some repairs, what did you do today? Did you make the list of all of the materials that is essential that you must purchase? What did you do today? For you that is supposed to be in marketing, did you make your list of 10 or 20 persons that you must make contact with today? Or if you have your listing already, did you make contact with them today? What did you accomplish today? What did you plan? You cannot expect to get the appointments if you don't make the calls. You cannot expect to move past the listing of the chapters to get toward the content if you didn't do anything. If you're supposed to go out today and walk 5 miles, but you sat in the front of the television and ate ice cream, what did you plant today? To gain more weight? Because that is all that is going to be accomplished. Your success in your harvest relative to your reaping is determined or will be determined by your planting on a daily basis. Make no mistake, you're going to have to plant different kinds of seeds. The reason why you're planting different kinds of seeds is because they're all going to come together and they're going to work together for your good. But you must determine what your harvest is going to be like, because reaping is only reserved for the planter. And you don't have to plant it all at one time, because I learned when I was getting into sales that you cannot eat a whole elephant. You take it in bits. You eat a little bit at a time. And eating a little bit at a time, you're absolutely guaranteed to plant a full field over a period of time. You're not going to take the beets and the cabbage and plant them together. You're going to isolate them. Correct? You're not going to take the spinach and the onions and blend them together. You're going to separate them, because they are all serving their purpose. You cannot take the thyme and plant it next to the aloe. You have to structure. It's all a part of planting. Reaping is reserved for the planter. Are you waiting for someone to come and plant for you? Are you waiting for someone to bring you the seeds so that you can plant them? Are you complaining that you don't have sufficient soil? Or you don't have the containers? Are you saying that you don't have the necessary traffic for you to market to? You have this amount of excuses and no planting. Stop making the excuses. Go and sort out all of your seeds and get to planting. You reaped last year. Are you satisfied with what you reaped last year? Don't answer me. Ponder the question. Are you satisfied with your harvest from last year? If you're not satisfied with your harvest from last year, then you should be so ready to focus on how you plant and what you plant this year. As a matter of fact, we're into November, the month of Thanksgiving. And you know, for Thanksgiving, there is a spread. My daughter lives in Houston. And the first time she did a Thanksgiving dinner, I was like blown away. It was a total spread. Mind you, she had to invite persons over for dinner because it was so much food. But the reason why there was so much was because there was a plan. There was a lot of planting going on. Not only that, in order to prepare a Thanksgiving dinner of such magnitude, a lot of planning has to go into the planting in order to bring it to fruition or for it to be successful. And so I know a lot of you are preparing for that Thanksgiving dinner. How much planting went into your planning? Or you have to settle for a chicken, a roasted chicken, because you did not plan for the turkey. You have to settle for the deli ham because you did not plan to buy the big ham for baking. Would you have to settle for because you did not plant anything? Are you seeking to bake, not ensuring that the electricity will be available for the oven? How is your planting? For those of you who's preparing to get that gold medal, or you have in your mind, right up here, that you're wishing for it. It's in your mind, which is a good thing. But you're wishing to get this gold medal award for all of your sales. But you're in the front of the television with a 2-liter bottle of Coke soda, a big bag of potato chips, and you haven't looked at your computer for 4 days. You don't know if persons came in to shop with you. How many purchases have you missed because you did not check your computer? When was the last time you reviewed the product that you're selling? But you want to have a harvest. No. It is reserved for the planters. The planters that go day in and day out and day in and day out to reap. They go day in and they go out and they sow, they plant. They know that the wind is going to carry some of the seeds. They know that when it starts to grow, it's going to be choked by some of the rocks and the weeds around it. They know that. They plant anyway. They know that there may be a storm that's going to blow everything away, root up everything. They plant anyway. They know, oh God, the birds, not forgetting the birds. They know that the birds are going to come and have their fair share of the seeds, but they plant anyway. But you're sitting up, ready to reap. And if you have it your way, you will reap from somebody else's field because you're too lazy to work on your own. But you would want to reap from somebody else's field or somebody else's garden because you didn't plant your own. You didn't utilize the seasons to plant for yourself. Reaping is reserved for the planters. And in case you don't know what I mean by reserve, when you are invited sometimes to a convention, a seminar, a celebratory function, you may receive an invitation and it has in it RSVP. Only those who RSVP will be reserved. And so if you don't RSVP and you show up to the function, you will find that you are not accommodated because you did not reserve by responding to the RSVP. Well, that is exactly the way it is with planting. It's reserved for the reapers. So if you don't plant, nothing is reserved for you. Nothing. Zilch. You get nothing. And so why wait 12 months and then told you have nothing when you can spend your time during the season of planting everything that you know will bring you the harvest, will make you successful, will cause you to be able to reap in bundles. Don't waste that time. You can have an amazing harvest. You can have so much reserved just for you if you make the decision to keep on planting. Things are going to go wrong. The road to success is not a straight line. It's not a straight road. The road to success has hills and valleys and curves. You go around the corner and don't realize that a big tree is there. That is called process. And so make it up in your mind that if you're going to have a great harvest, if you're going to go into that garden or that field expecting to reap something that is reserved for you, you better get to planting, my dear. It's time to plant. When a farmer is planting, that is the only thing that he does. He plants and then he waters. And you know what happens with the law of water. When there's no water, a whole lot of things can go wrong. So you got to plant. Then you got to nourish your seeds that you planted. No one is going to nourish them for you. That is your responsibility because this is your success. In whatever area you desire to be successful in, you got to nourish what you plant. You're not going to put the seed in the ground in all of that rich soil and then walk away. You're going to give it water. You're going to water your seeds periodically. Water your seeds of chapters in your book. Water your seeds of sales. You're an affiliate marketer. Water your seeds of exercising, working out, losing the weight, and eating right. Water your seeds. Plant your seeds and then water them. It's all a part of you becoming successful and achieving the goals that you set out to do. Work your vision board. It's there looking at you. Plant those seeds. Don't give up. Continue to water your plants. The harvest is ripe. Everything is going as planned because you planted the seeds. And so, of course, once your seed is planted and you've been watering your plants, because you got to water your field or your garden, whichever one you call it. But the harvest, or I call it Thankful November. I call it's thankful. Or we call it Thankful Thursday. I call it Thankful November. Because what we do is we plan all throughout the month of November to give. And so I say to you, remember that you can have an amazing harvest. You can have everything that the reaper deserves. Everything. They say, back in my growing up days, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. And I say, why not? I want my cake and I want to eat my cake because I have worked for my cake. And so, yes, reaping is reserved for the planter. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share this message. Leave a comment. As I always say, I will respond to you. Remember, if you're going to reap, you had better first plant. Success is yours if you decide to plant. Reaping is reserved for the planter. This is Vernell, Millionaire Smith, timing out.